like to call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Chris, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Stetzel?
Here.
Mr. Engel?
Here.
Mr. Yoshimura?
Here.
Mr. Gilbert?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everyone received a copy of the meeting minutes from, is it April 23rd? Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any corrections or additions? Okay, Chris?
Hang on, folks.
You have to join the meeting. You're on the agenda. You hit the agenda. Close it out.
This happens every meeting, I'm sorry.
New kids.
There we go. That throws me off. Let's see. Motion passed 5-0. Okay, the exciting part of the evening, we have our fall sports recognition.
I guess by the third time you come up here, you don't get any more welcomes or anything from the superintendent. Well, good evening, everyone. If we haven't met, my name is Dustin Gehring. I'm a director of assistant director of student services. I want to first start off with an apology on behalf of my office as transitions were happening late into the fall season, and as I fully took over going into January, we had to make some changes in the processes and some of the things that we were doing and looking for ways to do this type of celebration in a great way, in an organized way, and the best way possible. It took us a little bit of time to get that figured out. And in the meantime, I never want you to think for one second that our fall athletes weren't on our minds. You absolutely were. We had to get some things straightened out before we got to here. My hope is that tonight's celebration is actually an extension of your season, an extension of your celebration, as you got another chance to be recognized for doing some amazing things. We have an opportunity to now recognize many athletes for many different accolades where maybe before we were kind of pigeonholed into certain areas. So we're very excited about the new process. It just took a little bit of time to get there. So on behalf of my office, I'd like to apologize to you for the delay, but I'd like to get on with the celebration, if that's okay with you, because we have a lot to celebrate. Tonight we're going to welcome both of our high school ADs. The ADs will then speak on behalf of coaches, coaches on behalf of athletes, and then at the end of each of the sports, we're going to take a group shot here, and then we'll ask our athletes to go ahead and go on around and shake hands and head back to your seats. When we're finished with both high schools, I know that the board would also like to say a few things, and at the end of that, I'll welcome everyone, friends and family, out to the flagpole to take some group pictures. And that's my way of helping you leave the meeting so that you can get out of here in a quick way. Okay. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our athletic director from Northwest High School, Mr. Brad Watkins.
Thank you, Dustin. Again, Brad Watkins, very proud athletic director at Northwest High School. Board, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity this evening to showcase all the great things that are going on at Northwest High School, and again to showcase some of our fall accolades. This evening we're going to focus on our first team All SWAC honorees. These individuals have made countless sacrifices throughout their athletic careers and even this sports season to put themselves in a position to earn the recognition and accolades of our conference, the coaches in our conference. This is an honor voted on based on performance throughout the league schedule and voted on by other coaches. You know, our coaches can't vote for our own kids, although they would. But unfortunately this evening, we're not going to be able to, we had some schedule conflicts, so I'm going to represent our girls soccer program and Coach Sarah Merdico, as she was going to recognize Alexa Ridings, and Alexa's not going to be able, is not here this evening either. Alexa is a junior in our girls soccer program. She's the epitome of grit. She started off the season missing a full month of the season. She suffered an injury in a preseason conditioning that we thought we weren't going to be able to have her. She missed a month, was able to come back and not only perform on the field, but really lead our girls soccer program and put us in a good position moving forward. And so we're looking very much forward to having her back as a first team all conference performer this year, again next year as a senior. So I do want to take a minute and give recognition to Alexa. Our girls golf coach could not be here, Bob Goodrich, so I'm going to speak about Ms. Morgan Hughes. Morgan's been a tremendous leader, not only in our girls golf program, but in our hallways since the minute she's set foot on campus at Northwest High School. Morgan is a sophomore, so her leadership abilities and her ability to perform on the golf course have been very evident, since day one, since her freshman year. And she's taken on many roles at Northwest High School, serving on a lot of committees, and she's also in our band. She's going to leave here and go eat cake at the awards night for our high school band. So, but Morgan's done a tremendous job, and she had a great season this year. She averaged a 43 and a half on the golf course, which is crazy. She was able to, and she shot a 90 her last round in our SWAC meet. So tremendous talent. Looking very much forward for the next 2 years. She comes from a great family, very involved at Northwest High School, and couldn't be happier that you're up here getting recognized. So Morgan, thank you. Got a couple of these, don't we?
What are you playing in the band?
Good job, Morgan.
What are you playing in the band?
Give me some lessons.
She's working at the parks this year, or this summer. I think she's going to get all the free golf, so she's going to have a hookup, I'm just saying. I'm going to turn things over to Coach Kendall Stanley to talk about volleyball.
I'm Kendall Stanley, and I'd like to recognize Danielle Mahaffey this evening. Danielle is a one-of-a-kind athlete, hands down among the best who have competed for Northwest High School. You can see her height as she stands towering over me. To say that Danielle is a good, even a great volleyball player would be an understatement. She has an unbelievable amount of raw ability, and combine that with her hard work at practice, she is one of the best. The list of her accolades far exceed the amount of time we have, but to name a few, Danielle has a SWAC volleyball championship as a freshman, 3-time first team All-SWAC, one-time second team All-SWAC. She was first team All-City for D2, 919 career kills, and 346 career blocks. Danielle has made a significant impact on the volleyball program at Northwest since her varsity career began as a freshman. She is looked up to as a role model and a leader both on and off the court. She lives and breathes volleyball while maintaining grades to keep her on the honor roll all year long. If you don't know, she's going to be playing volleyball next year at the University of Tennessee, and they're very lucky to be getting such a talented young athlete.
Great job.
Congratulations. I'm standing up here. Still taller than I am. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. I'm Lee Johnson, football coach at Northwest. I have the honor of speaking about Caleb Thurman. To just talk about his football achievements. He's a 3-year letter winner for Northwest High School football team, recognized as a 2-time first-team All-Southwest Ohio linebacker for 2016-2017. He led our team in tackles with 120 while participating in 9 games his senior year. He recorded 18 tackles versus Withrow, Edgewood, and Little Miami, and 17 tackles versus Mount Healthy. He finished the year with double-digit tackles in 6 of the 9 games. The other 2 games, he registered 9 tackles. During his junior year, Caleb also led our team in tackles with 120. And that's speaking from him as an athlete. Caleb's value is not only measured in tackles, but also in leadership. He was one of 2 captains for the Northwest defense that returned only 3 starters for the 2017 season. His dedication, determination, and selflessness provided a positive example for the underclassmen and admiration for the coaching staff. Mr. Thurman began his football career as a special teams contributor, and through hard work and persistence developed into one of the most productive linebackers in Northwest high school history. Through his hard work on and off the field, Caleb has received interest from several Division III football programs to continue his academic and football career. It's an honor that I got the chance to coach Caleb, and you can see that he comes from a good family, and he's always been a positive influence inside the hallways as well, Northwest High School. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'd like to welcome our athletic director from Colerain High School, Mr. Craig Udlin. Let's welcome Craig.
Good evening. I want to first thank Mr. Gehring and our Board of Education administration for allowing us to recognize our fall athletes tonight. I'd like to congratulate all the fall athletes that are here tonight for their accomplishments this year and their dedication to their school and their community. Tonight, Colerain High School will be recognizing accomplishments for our women's varsity cross country team and our men's varsity football team. I'd like to begin with our women's cross country team. This year, Colerain High School had 2 female cross country runners qualify and compete at the state championship meet. I would like to introduce our head coach, Sarah Chisholm, and she will introduce our 2 state championship qualifiers.
Good evening. I'd like Madeline Fry and Shelby Truitt to come to the front. It was another outstanding fall season for Colerain Cross Country. Coming off the 2016 season, we knew that we had state contenders in Madeline Fry and Shelby Truitt, and that they had the determination and work ethic to get back to National Trails Raceway on the first weekend of November. Throughout the summer months, the girls worked hard alongside their teammates to log the miles, ace the workouts, and take care of themselves like they knew they should. As postseason time drew near, we watched Mile Split with bated breath to see how the rankings were looking, and at Troy Memorial Stadium, both girls wore state qualifier medals on the podium with pride. Getting to that point took a lot of hard work and dedication on their parts, and they did so with ease and driving goals to get to that starting line. Madeline had an outstanding senior season, placing herself on the top 10 record board with a new PR of 18:20. She was GMC runner-up, first team all-GMC, district runner-up, 13th at regionals, and 43rd out of 173 at the state meet. Shelby finished 3rd at GMCs, was also first team all-GMC, had a 9th place district finish, 20th at regionals, 81st out of 173 at the state meet. Both young ladies were all district, all region, and academic all Ohio. The cross-country family will greatly miss the spirit, work ethic, dedication, and drive that these 2 outstanding seniors brought to the team. Best of luck to you both as you continue your running careers at the collegiate level, Madeline at Northern Kentucky University and Shelby at Stetson University in Florida. Okay.
I have to share something real quick. Shelby, before the football team comes up, was stolen from the football team. She was the water girl her freshman and sophomore year, and someone got her out there to run and look at her. She's going to be running in college, so that was pretty cool.
All right, next we would like to recognize the accomplishments of our varsity football team. First, our head coach, Tom Bolden, could not be here tonight. He is at his son's baseball game. I will speak on his behalf, as well as his brother, Coach Dan Bolden, will come up here in a minute and say a few things about this year's teams and their accomplishments. Our football team this year had a tremendous amount of success, including 3 All-State performers, their 18th consecutive GMC championship, and finishing the year with a state Final Four appearance. First, I would like to recognize the 3 All-State performers. If I could have Daniel Bolden, Javon Hicks, and Chris Mangold come to the front. First, Daniel Bolden was a senior, first team All-State defense, linebacker. Daniel started 42 consecutive games over the last 3 years as a varsity linebacker for Colerain. This year served as a team captain, led team in tackles and forced fumbles, and next year he'll be playing football at Toledo University. Javon Hicks, who could not be here tonight, was a senior as well, and he was first team All-State defense as a defensive back. He was a team captain as well. Led the team with 4 interceptions, 2 for a touchdown. Also caught 3 touchdowns on offense. Served as our primary punt return specialist and will be playing football next year at the University of Cincinnati. Chris Mangold is a junior, was third team All-State offense as a place kicker. He converted 12 of 14 field goals this season, 40 for 41 on extra points. Chris also plays boys varsity soccer for Colerain High School, and we're looking forward to having him back next year for his senior year. Congratulations.
Genetic smile.
Great job, guys.
Great job. Congratulations. Good job there.
Next, I would like to introduce and bring up to the front of the room our team captains for football. The team captains this year were Daniel Bolden, Javon Hicks, Nick Kroger, Brendan Hobbs, Gunnar Leyendecker, Trayvon Harris. The football team this year finished the regular season with 8 straight victories in the GMC, en route to their 18th consecutive GMC championship, which is one short of Princeton's record of 19 straight. So we're looking at 19 next year. They finished the regular season overall with an 8-2 record, with a number 2 seed headed into the playoffs in the Region 4 Division I playoffs. In the postseason, the Cardinals defeated Moeller and Mason in the first 2 rounds, before they became regional champions with a 21-14 defeat over St. X. This qualified them for a trip to the state Final Four, where they eventually fell to Pickerington Central, who went on to win the state championship. Coach Bolden, again, could not be here tonight. Coach Bolden was voted as the GMC Coach of the Year this year for his accomplishments, for the team's accomplishments, and that is the 7th time that Coach Bolden has won GMC Coach of the Year. At this point, if I could have Assistant Coach Dan Bolden, if you would like to come up and give a few words about the season.
Craig talked a lot about what you guys know, the GMC championship and things like that. One of the things that I would like to talk about is the character of the man who represented Corrine High School in this school district all year long on that football field. You know, right out of the gate, we play LaSalle, defending state champion. Just a gut-wrenching loss to them, and people started talking. There were whispers. And the boys never missed a beat. We hit practice on Monday, grinded out Monday practice, grinded out Tuesday practice. Had to play St. X. Those of you who stayed for the entire St. X game know how that ended up. We ended up jumping out to a lead, ended up losing late in the game in a driving rainstorm that reminded us more of late November than the first weekend of September. It was cold and rainy, and we were 0-2. And the boys never flinched. You knocked them down, and they got right back up every time. So then we get into league play, and we win. And we win again. And we win again. And we win again. And we win again. And the next thing you know, we're 8-2 at the end of the season. And I won't go into how the playoff system works because it needs to be tweaked, I think. But we end up pulling Moeller for the first game and playing them at home. And railroaded them. And it was a great game. And then we got Mason and had to play them. And they have a great running back and beat them at Princeton on a field that had been completely underwater. I think it was a day before, 2 days before. And then pulled St. X again in what was probably one of the greatest games I think I've ever been a part of. And just to show you a little bit about St. X kicked the ball, and I'm gonna get all long-winded in here, but St. X kicked the ball to us with 6 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter because they thought they were going to get the ball back. And the offense, under Gunner and Nick's leadership, went out and took the ball and drove all 6 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock, including their timeouts. That never happens in a regional semifinal game. Never happens. And those boys did it because you just cannot knock them down. They will get up. And then we reached the state semifinals, and for those of you guys who watched the game and were there, we had 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. We had 3, and we were only still down by 6 points. These guys, they will not quit. They are fine representatives of Corrine High School. They are fine representatives of this district, and they are fine representatives of their parents and their families and their community. And I'd like to thank you for your support of the boys over the course of the season. Thank you. I know him. Can I stand my Gunner? I like Gunner. I like him. He eats too much.
Gentlemen, shake hands.
Great job.
Danny,
Congratulations.
Great job.
Danny, come on up here.
No, Joe, you got one of them buzzers on your hands. You probably got one of them electronic buzzers.
Congratulations, Danny.
So once again, we want to thank the Board of Education for having us here and giving us a chance to celebrate. We really, really appreciate it.
Well, real quick, I would like all the parents, family members, anybody that came with an athlete that was recognized tonight, please stand up because they couldn't have done it without all of your support. And then I'd also, after we see and we know all the different, not just the sports, the music programs and everything else, I'd like to thank the 2 athletic directors who, boy, that job is a tough job, trying to be at every event, and they're there supporting all the coaches. So I'd like Brad and Craig to stand up and thank them as well. And just real quick, I think what tonight, yes, like Dan said, we hear all of the first teams and the this and that, but what we heard over and over again from every coach was the character and role model. And that's what they're going to take with them the rest of their life, and that's what we are so proud of. So we'd like to congratulate all of you, the ones that are going on and get to continue that sport in college. We want to wish you the best of luck, and hope you come back and see us. And just a big congratulations again to everybody. Thank you.
At this time, we'll have our athletes, family, and friends meet me out at the flagpole for a picture. You may want to bring your belongings because this is your chance to get away. They want to get away from us.
Okay, we do not have a legislative report or a Butler Tech report this evening. So we're going to move right into reports from employee organizations. Is there anyone here for certificated and licensed employees? Anyone here for classified? Do we have any reports from school-related organizations? I have not received a request for any community comments. So we'll move right into certificated and licensed personnel.
Thank you. The first item is certificated retirements and resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and second. Are there any questions regarding the certificate, retirements and resignations? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is classified retirements and resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Again, any questions or comments regarding the classified retirements and resignations? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is a fiscal item, fiscal year 18 permanent appropriations. The treasurer and superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the permanent appropriations for fiscal year 2018 as listed.
So moved. Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions regarding the appropriations? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is the district handbook. It was presented last board meeting as information. Treasurer and superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the student activities handbook as listed.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Anybody have questions on this student activities part of the handbook? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is a general business item, vendor contracts. The superintendent and treasurer recommend the Board of Education approve the vendor contracts as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the vendor contracts. Do we have any questions? Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is certificated license personnel items. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve their certificated license personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions regarding the personnel items? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is classified personnel items. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions regarding classified personnel items? Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is curriculum and instruction. It is an overnight field trip, White Oak Middle School Power of the Pen. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the overnight field trip as listed.
So moved. Second?
Moved and second. Questions or comments regarding the overnight field trip? I would just like to thank the teacher, Mrs. Greeley, for taking that responsibility on and giving the kids the opportunity to compete in that, and wish them all good luck. Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is student service item, student support guidelines and code of conduct. It was presented as information at the last meeting. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the student support guidelines and code of conduct as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions regarding the student support guidelines and code of conduct? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is a miscellaneous item. It is a resolution for membership in Ohio High School Athletic Association for 2018-2019. This is required for both Colerain High School and Northwest High School. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the OHSAA membership resolution as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Okay. Motion passed 5-0.
The next item is a memorandum of understanding regarding the utilization of the Business Advisory Council for the Hamilton County ESC to serve as the business representative. I've had a couple questions on this from the community, wondering if this Business Advisory Council makes decisions on budgets and other funding and appropriations, and it has nothing to do with that. It is more related to our business partners that we already currently have through our ESCs that will offer input and guidance into what skills and trades they would like to see students graduate from the Northwest Oakland School District. This will be in a partnership with other school districts who work through the ESC. So we need this memorandum of understanding in order to do that. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the MOU regarding the utilization of Hamilton County ESC to serve as the Business Advisory Council as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is for information only. We will seek action at the next meeting. It is the proposed school fees for 2018 and 19. Daryl, anything you want to add?
No, just that we review these every year to make sure that the fees we're charging are appropriate, that we're not overcharging, that what we're charging is being used for the intended purpose. So this has a few revisions in it that are listed here in terms of reductions to some high school and middle school music, and then lab fees have been increased simply because the supplies they buy have gone up in cost.
And not that this has anything to do with it, but at the beginning of the year, we had questions about class list and what's required for class. Jenny Blest is checking with all principals, and we are monitoring them closely so that we're not over asking for what's going into the classrooms, as you wanted us to do.
Are there any hardship cases involved that have students actually have to produce that money?
For the fees? Yeah. Based on economic status, some fees are waived, but then waived fees are then paid for by the district.
It's not our policy, state law. Then what is our tracking method for fines? So, I can't say.
Our fees and fees, all buildings work with a system to prompt families that they owe fees. We hold things for students so students can't attend certain events, they haven't paid their fees. So we withhold things as they move forward. So like in high school, you can't buy a prom ticket if you haven't paid your fees. So as we go through each level, elementary, middle, and high, do their best to prompt families, remind families. We send out notices of what is still owed, and we work with families on trying to get that money back in.
This is an ongoing problem for a lot of school districts, not just ours. Our records we try to keep them as accurate as possible. Sometimes mistakes are made, as we've heard from other board meetings. It is very difficult for how much you can take away, because the bottom line is a 6 to 12-year-old at an elementary can be punished because parents can't afford or cannot pay their fees. So there, it's basically report cards. Not much else. As it moves to the middle school and high school, fees get compounded because football game ends on a Thursday for the last game. Kid never thinks about it. They come back and hand all their stuff in. Well, it's all gone and separate. So that adds to $250 in equipment to it. but no person in high school is where they really try, and they get 100% of it, because you cannot go to homecoming or prom at both high schools, and you cannot participate in graduation unless every fee you owe is paid. So that is the stop all that gets it, but it gets very difficult in the elementary level and sometimes the middle school level, because the kid is being held back or pulled out of things because of parents. Next item is English 1, English 2 curriculum adoption. The curriculum department is presenting the Student Sync program for information for use in English 1 and English 2. Study Sync provides powerful digital instruction with engaging print resources to ensure teachers can provide students a systematic path to success. More information can be viewed at www.studysync.com. Again, this is for information.
This is the same program that we presented and gave information on for the middle school. So this actually will continue to align with what we have for the middle school, so it's consistent with our vertical articulation into the high school for English 1 and English 2.
Next item for information is miscellaneous. It is our Neola board policy revisions. They deal with College Credit Plus program, retired classified staff members. We have 2 attachments for information only. If you have any questions, please let me know. We will present for action at the next board. Okay, 2 topics I would like to talk about. First of all is May activities, and I truly appreciate those who have made it to some of the activities. It's never ending. I feel bad tonight. We have 3 activities we are not attending because of the board meeting. You know, we talked about a lot about our staff, and our staff is doing outstanding jobs with band and orchestra and everything else. But last night I'm at Northwest High School, and Pleasant Run Elementary Orchestra is being led by a parent volunteer. She volunteers her time. She comes in on Monday. She meets with them, and those kids were playing lengthy combinations of music. She said, we're going to pluck our first song because to show you where we were, and then they continue after that. But it just goes to show, and we have some of these folks in our audience who volunteer in schools. We couldn't do it without parents and what they volunteer to do, so it is greatly appreciated. Our band directors, talking to Tim and talking to the Colerain folks, it's ongoing. It's every night. It's weekends. It's Saturday and Sunday performances. The play that I went to at Northwest a couple weekends ago was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Colerain play was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So just hours and hours of getting to see kids do extracurriculars, which shows they're outstanding students because they're able to maintain good grades into the extracurriculars. So it's been an outstanding time. The other thing I wanted to talk about was starting times. And I've done my best at parent meetings and at school meetings. I know when we went back in the fall and went to each school, Montford Heights, Colerain L, every school, we talked about extending the school day for 30 minutes. And so people are starting to ask, why are you extending the school day for 30 minutes? Well, right now our elementary goes 30 minutes less than our middle school and high school students. The reason, from my background memory, and Pam and Jim's might even be better, but we took 30 minutes away because we had to find a way to supply a planning time for our teachers back in the day. We need 30 minutes of education. So we have redesigned what every grade level will look like, K through 5. They will get 180 minutes of reading. They will get 120 minutes of math. We will integrate social studies and science into their daily lessons, and we should see tremendous gains in our students. The 30 minutes, I got questions like, why didn't you interview students? Our experts are the teachers in the classroom, so that's who we're going to get feedback and input from, and that's what we did. They helped develop the day and what it would look like. It does cause a couple more schools to be a little later released. I think some of the latest times are 8:50 to 3:50, and so the concern was, and I fully understand a family who does extracurricular activities. So if that bus gets out on 4:20, 4:30, you got to find time to feed them. If it's a 6 o'clock baseball or soccer game, coach usually says, get here an hour in advance, so we will work with transportation to try to make sure nobody's later than 4:15 or 4:20 to get there. But the thing that changes for all of us and that bumped these times back is we used to bus 400 to 500 kids. We're busing not 900, but we're taking from 900 student schools. It will take a little bit of time. It'll be trial and error. We will hit the ground running and not have the bus driver shortage that we did last year. I think that's playing into a lot of this, but I think we fixed that issue. And then secondly, it just, by doing this, it gives us several opportunities: increased student achievement, extra time to provide intervention and enrichment. Remember, with the new schools, a gifted teacher will be full-time in each of the buildings. We have also moved band and orchestra to the school day. All these kids were getting eliminated from band and orchestra because mom and dads couldn't get them to school 45 to an hour early. That's out of there. So it's better for the kids. We're just trying to do more for children. We didn't lengthen the day to bore the kids, and I've gotten those questions. You're just going to bore them to death. They won't have, they'll have plenty to do. And we hope to enrich and intervene and do things and put things in place that will help the kids. So we're excited about the extension. And I got probably 2 to 3 emails tops, but I just wonder how much more can we put out. Dustin's putting it out on Facebook just to make sure it gets again. So anybody who can forward it or share it or like it, whatever you do. We've tweeted it. We've got it on all the website pages. I don't want people to panic because it's 8:50 to 3:50. I still think they'll be home in a very doable time, and it'll work. And one switch we made that was major that we've all talked about is Struble and PRE starting times. Remember when we built the schools, the plea from the public was, can we please have a gym that is a real gym so that Pleasant Run Middle School sports can play in a full-size gym for volleyball and basketball. In order to do that, we need PRE to get out early so the athletes don't sit there all day from Pleasant Run Middle School and have nowhere to go. So that's why those 2 starting times were flipped. Besides that, I think everything else pretty much will fall into place, and so we're looking excited to it. I want to bring those 2 things up because I've had a couple questions on it. And we'll continue to get the information and the message out.
Okay, with that, it's a rather short meeting tonight, but if anybody has any questions about anything we talked about this evening, they can ask now. Yes.
You're going to be starting Struble at 8 o'clock, right? According to the email I got,
8:50 to 3:50.
Struble is showed at 8 a.m. If that is
Struble's an early school, yes.
If that is correct, I am requesting that the no turn on right signs need to be changed to like 7:30 to 3:30.
They changed all the signs. We're working on that, and we're also working on the lighting system that comes out from the subdivision, and pretty much going to put a police officer to start the school year to make sure we get people in a routine. That'll take probably 2 to 3 weeks for that to happen. And plus your help, which is tremendously appreciated. I know how much you do for the kids, and we can never replace that.
I enjoy
And
it.
your feedback is important to us, so we are definitely aware of what you're saying.
And I'd also like to request, after what happened at Witten Road with the school bus, I really think our children deserve seatbelts on the buses. Not saying this year or next year, but maybe try to work it in. These buses need seatbelts. Because when they're turning the corner and I'm standing on the corner, the driver can't watch them every second. These kids are bouncing around. We've already had a bus that turned from Memory onto Banning and went over. Luckily, none of the kids were hurt, but I still think school buses should be with seatbelts.
I know I could speak when the bus came down Crest Road for the very first time and I was putting my kindergartner on. I stopped right there and asked the bus driver before she even got on. I said, why aren't there seat belts? I have to have her in a seat. And what she explained to me was that they've done studies and Bob probably much more experienced with this question. But the way she explained it is that if there would ever be a fire or anything in the bus, they can't get the kids, especially the younger ones, unhooked and out quick enough. And it makes sense, but I struggle with that too, because you do see them all over the place.
That's the issue is who's going to be responsible to make sure every one of those kids is in that seatbelt, and how do you enforce that? And then you have all those seatbelts with the buckles and all that stuff, and then they become weapons for middle school kids. And there's a lot of pros and cons with it. So They've done a lot of studies. If the students are sitting the way they're supposed to in the seat, probably 95% of the time, if a bus is in an accident, they're going to be protected. But if they're up and moving and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then they're at risk, yes.
Anything else? Okay, we're going to move into board member comments. Joe, you have anything?
No, I was just one thing. I was totally impressed with the student athletes. They would be congratulated.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate all student athletes that were here from the fall tonight. Sorry it took so long for us, but, they did get recognized and well deserved. It's also National Teachers Week, so we want to give a shout out to all the teachers and all they do for us. They don't get enough recognition. They're overworked, they're underappreciated, but they do it because they love it, and we love them for it. So thanks for being there for us.
Yeah, along with Bob, I want to thank our teachers during National Teachers Week. It's also National Nurses Week, so we don't want to forget them. I did run into my elementary nurse at National Day of Prayer at Roseback Methodist, and she remembered me, which was kind of amazing. And so her Nurses Week's coming up. She's still doing nursing at 83. We had the military signing this morning at Colerain and at the high school. Just offer prayers to the young ladies and gentlemen who signed, who are going to protect us. And just as kind of coming down the lining of my first school year as a board member, I have some regrets of not being engaged sooner in my kids' education. This place is nonstop. Like Todd was saying, I mean, you could do something every day, all day long, and not blink an eye at it. And there's so much effort and energy that goes into this. And it's an emotional arena because we have children. And emotional can be good, and emotional can be bad. And so one of the things that, as I talk to people in the community, is I like to hear more of the positives. Everybody is always critiquing everything, but I think we need to take time to reflect on all the good that does come out of the school district, like the young men and women who signed today with military, the athletes that were here, the teachers that are completely dedicated to our administration. So I think it's been an incredibly successful year, and I thank everybody for their hard work.
Yeah, I just want to follow up and congratulate the student athletes and teacher appreciation. I appreciate that, especially everything that they do. And then we've gone to the 5 building closings. And I went to Struble, where I went to elementary school. 50 years ago, I was in 3rd grade, and there's my 3rd grade teacher. And then my 4th grade teacher was there. So it was good. I know they didn't remember me or anything, but it was kind of exciting seeing a couple of my elementary teachers from back in the day. But it was very exciting. The closings were all different, but they were all great. I mean, everybody was so engaged, but it was a good time.
I wanted to follow up with the school closings. I gotta admit, I was a little jealous when you got 2 of his teachers were there. And it was cute because the one just kept hugging him, and then I overheard him say he was on the school board, and then she hugged him again. Well, fast forward, we got to Pleasant Run Elementary, and any of you that were there and got to hear Mr. McFarland speak, well, here was his sister, and we never even knew that. He was telling us, he said, my sister came home last week, and the first thing she did was call me and said, Everett, I met one of my students tonight after 50 years, and went on, and he's a school board member. And Mr. McFarland was like, I know who that is. And we never put it together, and then once he said that, they look alike, and you're both of them, their whole career, I mean, years and years and years of teaching, and it was really neat. And I just want to thank all the school committees, and like Jim said, they were all a little bit different, but they made the night special, and again, my favorite part was watching the staff, the old and the new, and the staff interacting with each other. That was really, really cool. So also we have our academic signing at Colerain in the morning, so looking forward to that. And like you said, it's every night and every day there's great things going on, and trying to get to as many of them as we can. So with that, we're going to go into executive session. We will not be taking any action, so we'll come back. We'll just adjourn. You're more than welcome to hang out here, but it's a pretty day. If you want to leave, you're not going to miss anything.
Superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the motion to move into executive session as listed.